You're listening to The Bon Marie Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to The Bon Marie Show on Irish News Radio or itv.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews.net. Listening to The Bon Marie Show on itv.ie and Irish News Radio. Today's Monday, so we're talking about the financial mess. And the mess, the bullshit, this carbon tax, another bullshit scheme, this bullshit lying government, and getting our other government parties to back them, which will be no surprise because they're all traitors to the Irish people, hoping to kill off some native Irish by bringing, I'm sure that this carbon tax won't be brought in for the non-Irish. It'll be the native Irish that will be mostly affected, especially the elderly, and he doesn't want to give them a blank check, so-called blank check, to keep them alive and warm. No, he'd like them dead, but a blank check for killing off your baby, no problem, or a blank check for non-Irish claiming to be Irish and taking Irish homes and everything else, no problem. So I rang up about this so-called my options for killing your baby, and I told her I was in a happy relationship and he'd be devastated, and I just changed my mind at the weekend, and I was thinking of having the baby, but I changed my mind. And she then gave me numbers of doctors in my area, which I told her I was in. And she then said, well, you know, it's a little bit new, and I told her I was over the 12 weeks. I said, is there only 12 weeks? And she basically told me, well, it's a bit new in Ireland, but, they might just do it anyway. Oh, you'll have to go to your doctor and prove you're depressed. But that's easy enough. I'm depressed. I feel suicidal. I want to kill my child. They're not going to stop you. It's open to anyone. Show on itv.ie and Irish News Radio. Today is Monday, so we're talking about the financial mess. And what we'll start with this bullshit carbon tax. Now there is we already pay for carbon tax through our bills. So Leo, fake leader, who hasn't got a mandate, who wasn't elected by the people, wasn't even elected by his own party, has decided to bring in this carbon tax. And of course he doesn't care what the people think. He says it's not even for the money, he says. It's for behaviour. So basically he wants to control. He is the most ignorant, disgusting man. So he basically says, yes, that he wants to control us. He wants to control the native Irish, so he can bring in more of the third worldy scum he prefers, because he doesn't identify with Ireland or Irish culture or Irish heritage or anything to do with Ireland. And of course he's looking for other parties, Micheál Martin and Sinn Féin, and I'm sure people before profit will be knocking on his door to agree with him that the native Irish need to pay more so you can bring in more third world Muslim rapists and Africans from North Africans who Islamic, so you can come in and terrorise more of the native Irish. Now, I hope this is the last straw, like it was for the moron in France when he decided to bring in the carbon tax and they went to riots. I really hope that happens here. In fact, I would delight in it. He's a disgusting human being. I actually even find him worse than that French moron or the other idiot in Canada. It's like the three bloody jokes. They even all look alike. They're disgusting human beings. Can't stand any of them, but particularly Arwen. So, of course, Micheál Martin, I'm sure, will be happy to go, oh, yes, because a fake coalition, he doesn't obstruct or argue with anything that Leo decides to do. Anything. even when it came to bloody abortion, he didn't argue with anything other than the name woman, which is a disgrace. It is absolutely a disgrace. So, yeah, they're going on about this carbon tax. And as I said, we've already paid for it through our bills. What they really want to do is freeze the elderly to death. And already he said he's not giving the elderly a blank check to keep warm. He's a disgusting human being. He wants the elderly, because he knows majority are 100% Irish, he wants them to freeze to death by not paying. By not being able to pay, not being able to afford to heat. They have our right here. This is their land. I hate this man so much. He's absolutely disgusting, and I hope it's the last straw. He can't wait until the Irish elderly end up dead, so at least they won't be on waiting trolleys in hospitals. He's absolutely a disgrace for the Irish native population. Because he wants a replacement and he wants it quickly. It's a disgrace, absolutely a disgrace. And it comes to an expression that reminds me, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. And in this country, you can see that. You can see the Irish are very slow, or haven't woken up, and I hope they do, because evil has triumphed in this country because you people did nothing. When they lied and lied about the abortion referendum, they lied and lied about it would only be 12 weeks. I have rang up so-called My Choice, and I've pretty much bullied into saying that I could get an abortion in Ireland, although it's a bit risky. They don't really know what they're doing just yet. They may not agree with it. But by the end of the conversation, she was like, gave me the numbers of where in my area I could go and get an abortion. And I told her I was over 18 weeks. Now I wonder if I told her I was over 24 weeks. She basically said, she kind of said she wanted it to go to the UK. She was sussing out if I was real, I think, for some of the phone call. But in the end, she said, well, we don't really know. How about going there? And she kept trying to get me to say I was in a difficult place or whatever. And she wanted to hear the SAP story. I was like, no. Like, obviously a bullshit story. Not to her, because she didn't know. But, I was like saying, no, I just want the end of it. And she gave me numbers. So it is possible. At 12 weeks was bullshit. Now, at the beginning of the phone call, she went on, oh, no, it's not possible. It's be very difficult. But sure, if you went into a doctor and said, I'm depressed, I'm suicidal, how are they going to know? How are they going to prove that? That's such bullshit. You can't prove anybody feels suicidal. If they tell you that, you have to take their word. Doctor, psychologists coming in, such rubbish. So she said that that's what would happen. But then she gave me the number of doctors that would be maybe willing to perform it after the weeks. So it is completely bullshit. You can get an abortion up to any stage here. And they have no worries about it. And the doctor she was giving me, one of them was a foreigner, but I'm sure there's some Irish willing murderers out there too. But it just shows you it's completely bullshit. And I knew it was bullshit. I knew those 12 weeks would have been bullshit. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get that phone call as promised because she rang me back in a private number, so I wasn't able to record it. But it was interesting that, yeah, you can she actually one stage told me to go to the UK and they can avail it, but she made a big thing that it's very unusual in the UK, but anybody doing 2 seconds research, you can get it and it's not unusual. And the fact that after she was worn down, I think there's obviously been a few pro-life people ringing her up, so she's getting a bit more wary of it to see the truth and where it is and who's doing it. But she basically said, yeah, if I can prove I am depressed or that, I'm suicidal, she basically told me to tell the doctor I'm suicidal, and that way they would assess me. Now, so all you basically have to go in and say, I'm depressed, I feel suicidal, and you can have an abortion right up to birth. Now, she did say it was very new, and they wouldn't might be used to that service up, but that they may not be able to willing to do up to that stage, but that they may refer me to a hospital or something like that. But it was pretty much like, you can get it here. Once you go in and you say to your doctor you're depressed. And even when I was saying to her that she said to me, so you in a relationship? And I said, yes, I am in a relationship. I'm happy in a relationship. I'm fine. Just I decided I didn't want it. And she said, do your partner know? And I said, yeah, he would be devastated. And even then, she didn't have any sort of, guilt or feeling responsible. And as for EU, there apparently this carbon tax, as a Leo being a little rent boy, for the EU. This carbon tax is EU directive. No wonder, because he's a little lapdog for the EU, and he would be more than happy to, like Macron, and even the Canadian one, even though he's not in the bloody EU, another idiot. But Leo being absolutely, because he's in this country, I find him absolutely disgusting, and his attitude towards the native Irish is absolutely disgusting. No respect for the old Irish or for any Irish, but he wants to freeze them. So he won't give them a blank check apparently for heating, but there's no problem if you want to murder your child. You have the blank check there. Anybody anytime can murder your child in Ireland. But for heating, for necessary things, there is no money for the old for heating their house. That is disgusting. And now he's going to bring in carbon tax. Now, I really hope Ireland wakes up, and I really hope this is the end of Leo. I really hope it is bigger than the water protests. I hope it comes out screaming that people stop and put a complete stop to the streets and say no. I really, really do hope. And I hope this hits hard. And I hope it's worse than France. And I hope there's massive riots on this street, worse than the water protest. It's just absolutely shocking. And it's because we're doing nothing. This evil is triumph. It is overcoming the whole country. It is a disaster. And people, you need to stand up. We don't need to take this. You need to show him and the rest of the fake government that we, the people of Ireland, are not going to lie down and be walked all over. Worse than that, absolutely peed on. Like, it is disgusting, the treatment of the Irish. Dragged to the dirt, while they bring in these third world immigrants who rape and murder and torture and a danger to the Irish people, but they don't care. No, they're more than bloody welcome here, while the Irish people are left to die. The old, because they were true, 100% Irish, pure Irish, are actually the whole thing of his hatred, because obviously he had a tough time growing up in Ireland and everything about our culture and heritage, because he's not 100%. He's only 50%, and I'm telling him that it was better than Irish culture. Thank you for listening to the Bonry Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.